Hello, so I'm going to extend my videos on anatomy up into the shoulder today. And this is the anterior, or the view of the front of the shoulder, just looking mostly at ligaments and some of the bursa, which are in green. So you can see why it's called a joint capsule for the shoulder, because it really does have this set of ligaments that basically encapsulates the whole of the little shallow ball and socket joint that we have as part of our shoulder. And it is a very shallow ball and socket joint. You know, our shoulders are incredibly mobile and have huge ranges of motion compared with four-legged creatures, for example. So when my dog is lying on her back asleep, her front legs are sort of sticking up in the air. We have a massive range of motion in our shoulder, but it comes somewhat at the expense of joint stability. So the ball and socket joint is much shallower than you would get in your hip, and in fact the way that the whole shoulder, including the clavicle here, the scapula here, and the whole arm, in fact, where the only way they're attached to the whole of the rest of the body with the bone-to-bone joint is where our clavicle meets our breastbone. Everything else is floating and held together with all of these ligaments and the muscles and tendons, which we'll come on to in a minute. So it's an incredibly complicated joint, but it's the only joint in the body, really, that if the muscles get tight, the whole joint moves. So, you know, you see with postural tendencies, people's shoulders are often forwards and upwards, and this can have a knock-on effect on their running. So we want good, loose shoulders sitting in the right position that are able to drive our arms backwards well for good running, and classic desk posture doesn't really do us a lot of favours. Just to touch on these bursa here, these little things are in green. They're not green in reality, you'll be pleased to hear. But these are basically little sort of cushioning, shock absorbing pads. So their role is to make sure that everything glides over each other nicely, and there's no irritation caused by, or wear caused by, tendons and ligaments coming into contact with bone as our joints move. So talking of the muscles and the ligaments, these are two views of the sort of what's called deep and superficial, so the bigger muscles on top and then the deeper stabilising muscles, generally speaking. So this is our view of the front of the torso, the front of the shoulder. So this is our collarbone here. And you can see a lot of these deep muscles and ones that go down into the arm, and the deep pec muscles. These are the big pec muscles that you see on very muscular men, quite obviously. But there's lots of much more deep stabilising muscles here that are doing the day-to-day movement of the shoulder joint. Often in a sports massage treatment context, I find that these deeper pec minor muscles are really quite tight for people that have desk or driving jobs where their arms are forward a lot of the time. And this is a similar diagram showing the bigger muscles on the left, the deeper, smaller stabilising muscles on the right, from the back. So these are our lats, some of the muscles that we came across in my last couple of videos, and the delts, but these deeper ones, including the triceps, are shoulder stabilisers. There's lots of different muscles that sort of fan out from the very top of the head of your upper arm bone, the humerus, and come down underneath and over the top of your scapula that move and stabilise this whole setup. And again, often with people with desk jobs, driving jobs, arms forward jobs, this whole complex sort of, and the scapula that they attach to sort of slides up and outwards, so in this direction, as our shoulders move forwards and upwards. So again, another fascinating and complicated area of the body, very interesting, as I say, to compare ourselves to our the fellow four-legged creatures on this world, where their muscular anatomy, bony anatomy of their shoulder joint is in quite a different position for quite a different purpose. Anyway, I hope that's useful. Happy running.